I was scrolling because sleep wouldn't come. The house had that late night quiet where every sound feels louder than it should. The refrigerator clicking, the faint rush of the heater. My son was asleep down the hall with his dinosaur lamp still on, green light leaking under the door. I remember thinking I should turn it off, then deciding to let him have it. He liked waking up and seeing something friendly first. Facebook was muscle memory, a thumb moving without curiosity. Vacation photos, a coworker's dog, a cousin's engagement ring. I wasn't looking for anything. I never am when it finds me. My sister's post was a screenshot of a meme, some sloppy joke about kids who talk late, being behind forever. She'd added her own caption, a laugh, cry emoji, and a line about how some parents need to accept reality sooner. It was vague enough to pretend it wasn't about us. It was specific enough that everyone who mattered knew. I read it twice before my stomach dropped. The room felt smaller. I could hear my own pulse in my ears, a sound like rushing water. Then the comments loaded. My mother's profile picture, her smiling in the blue blouse she wears to church, sat right under the post. Her comment was quick, casual, the way she says things she thinks are obvious truths. She should have known better than to pass on broken jeans. There were laughing emojis, little blue thumbs, a heart from my aunt, OMG, and someone else added, savage. I didn't cry. That surprised me. I felt organized. Like everything inside lined up into neat, sharp columns. This had happened before, just not online. Jokes at Thanksgiving, suggestions whispered like advice. Comparisons disguised as concern. I'd always handled it the same way, smile, redirect, take the hit privately. I told myself that keeping peace was the grown-up thing. My son rolled over in his sleep and mumbled something that wasn't a word yet. Not quite, but close. Close enough that I understood him. My chest tightened. I took a screenshot. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. Proof for later. Or proof for myself that I hadn't imagined it. My husband came into the kitchen for water. He was barefoot, hair still messy from sleep. He glanced at me, then at the phone in my hand. You okay? He asked. I turned the screen toward him. I watched his face change, not dramatically. Just a small shift, like a door closing softly. He didn't swear. He didn't ask what I wanted to do. He read every comment, slow and careful, the way he reads contracts. That's public, he said finally. Yeah. And your mom wrote that. I nodded. I felt embarrassed, like I was responsible for their behavior simply because I belonged to them. He handed the phone back to me and went to sit at the table. He stared at the wood grain for a long moment. I waited for him to say something comforting, something explosive, anything. He didn't. I'm going to post something, he said. I shook my head immediately. Please don't start a fight. He looked at me then, really looked. I'm not starting one. I don't want to make it worse. He considered that. Okay. And then he stood up, went back to bed, and didn't touch his phone again. I lay awake next to him, heart racing, telling myself that was it. That I'd go back tomorrow and unsee it somehow. That I'd message my sister privately, carefully, with bullet points and politeness. Morning came. My son woke up cheerful, pointing at his lamp and saying, "Rah." For dinosaur. I praised him like he delivered a speech at a podium. He beamed. By mid-morning, the post had more reactions. Someone had tagged another cousin. The laughter had grown legs. My husband kissed me on the cheek before work. I'll handle it, he said quietly. I didn't ask how. An hour later, my phone started buzzing. First a text from my aunt, "What is going on?" Then my sister, "Why is your husband threatening us?" Then my mother calling, over and over. I opened Facebook. My husband had commented directly under my sister's post. One paragraph, no insults. No raised voice. He wrote that our son had a documented speech delay, that early intervention was already in place, and that mocking a child for a developmental issue wasn't just cruel. It could have legal implications when it crossed into harassment and public defamation. He mentioned that screenshots had been saved and that a formal complaint had already been discussed with a licensed advocate we were working with through the program. He ended with a sentence that felt like a line drawn in chalky. This post and its comments are now part of that record. That was it. No threats. No ultimatums. Just facts. The comments vanished one by one. My mother's disappeared first, then the laughing emojis. Someone edited their OMG to a blank. My sister deleted the entire post, but it was too late. People were already messaging her, asking what she'd done. My phone rang again. This time it was my mother, her voice sharp and thin. Why would he say that? Is he trying to ruin us? I didn't answer. For the first time in my life, I didn't rush to explain. My sister left a voicemail, breathless, accusing. You know I was joking. Why would you take it that far? I listened once, that archived it. That afternoon, my husband came home early. He didn't look triumphant. He looked tired. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one he'd studied the night before. I didn't want to embarrass you, he said. I waited because I needed to be sure. And because once you post something like that, there's no taking it back. I thought of all the times I'd taken things back for them. Apologies I didn't know. Silences I swallowed. Are we really reporting them? I asked. He shrugged slightly. We don't have to. But now they know we could. That knowledge settled over me, heavy and calm. Outside, a car passed, tires hissing on pavement. The world kept moving. My mother didn't speak to me for weeks. When she finally did, she avoided the topic entirely, as if it had evaporated on its own. My sister unfriended me, then sent a request months later with no message attached. I haven't accepted it. I might not. What changed wasn't them. It was me. I stopped managing their comfort. I stopped translating cruelty into misunderstanding. When my son started stringing 2 words together, then 3, I told him how proud I was without looking over my shoulder, without bracing for commentary. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that post, the way laughter can feel like a wall you can't climb. And I think about how quiet it got when the wall cracked. My husband didn't raise his voice. He didn't humiliate anyone. He just named the reality and let it stand. And somehow, that was enough.